Bama with a big loss to Oklahoma, and there's only one thing left to do, and that's beat Auburn. Well, there's another thing, too, but we'll talk about that right here on the show. Welcome to the Bama Tailgate Show. Let's roll. All right, there he is, the two-time All-American, Mr. Mike Johnson. I'm Mick Gillespie. Great to talk to you guys today. And, Mike, let me remind you and everyone else that Twisted Sisters D. Snyder, Lita Ford, going to be at Pearl River Resort December 27th, 8 o'clock. You got that one uncle that's the former rocker, hairband guy. What are you giving them for Christmas, Mike? Get them to see D. Snyder at Pearl River. Then go and hit the casinos, have a little bit of fun. That's the way that you win Christmas, with that impossible to shop for uncle or maybe aunt.
Yeah, man. The hairband guy. You got me with the hairband uncle thing, man. It took me off guard with that.
You know who I'm talking about, though. I
was sitting there thinking, who's that uncle in my family, man? But yeah, I mean, that's funny. You know most of my uncles anyway, so it is what it is.
I know. I'm a friend of the family for sure. We go way back. We'll talk about you and me when we make our official announcement of the Iron Bowl tailgate show at the Floribama, what it signifies. But I think that what people want to know about right now, and I'm going to try to put this nicely, what the hell happened on Saturday?
First of all, you can't throw pick sixes. That's first and foremost, man. There's a lot of different things that went wrong. And, I think when you get done with a game like this, especially losing Oklahoma 2 years in a row, right? You kind of try to dissect it, and you look at the fact that Ty Simpson threw for 320 yards, 325 yards. And you're like, oh man, they must have played really well offensively. They didn't. I think that's the tough pill to swallow about this, man, is that you really did not play bad defensively at all. You kept a really nice lid on what they were able to do, but they found a couple of clutch plays, and really the pick six and the tipped field goal where the field goal kicker is irate about the holder or snapper or whatever else is going on. That was the difference in the game. I mean, unfortunately, that was the difference in the game. And I knew, Mick, and you know how I look at the game. When we got to be 4th and 1 or 4th and 2 right there in the end of the fourth quarter, and we ran an end around to pick up the first down, I was like, this ain't good. That's just not Alabama's brand of football. And Ty Simpson has really delivered so many times that it's hard to even be upset with him about not being able to deliver in some of the moments in the end of the fourth quarter in this game. But can't turn the ball over. When you do, they cannot turn into pick sixes. And, that really is the story of the game. I don't think there's any other way to put it. We got to find a running game. I know that you and I talked about this last week. Will it come back and bite you or not? And ended up that maybe it ended up biting you this year or this week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, it did. I mean, the sad part to me is we let them do everything that we normally do. Yeah. We don't turn the ball over. We don't make penalties. We turn the ball over and we make penalties. Yeah. I mean, it's like enough's enough. Take one of those turnovers away and you win the game. Kick one field goal and you win the game. If I was Connor Talty, the kicker, I'd be pissed too because I'm the one missing all the kicks.
I told my buddy Drew Butler earlier. Drew Butler was he's an All-American punter at Georgia. And I was talking to him about this earlier, and he was like, I've never seen a kicker act like that towards his brethren, towards his special teams brethren right there. He was like, I guess, if something gets messed up, but in the end, the kick got tipped anyways. The guy jumps over the line of scrimmage over the long snapper and he tips the ball. And it's like, all that for naught, if you're Talty. But I mean, that was just a microcosm of the game, was it not? Like frustration. Again, you look at Ty Simpson's passing numbers and he throws for 326 and, Cuevas has a big day. Jeremy Bernard has a big day, but you couldn't find the clutch plays like you've done so many times this year, man. You've been able to come up with clutch plays, and we just kind of ran out of the mojo right there.
Well, that's the bad news. The good news is that, here we are with the same opportunity that we were going to have anyway. right? Win and in and out, and you're not, and you got Eastern Illinois. I'm going to be honest with everybody here. Didn't know they even had a football team. Never heard of them. I don't even know what league they play in. Yeah, I don't know what league they play in.
There's somebody big. Is it Tony Romo's from there? I think it's Tony Romo. Yeah, he's from there. Yeah. I don't know what that. They probably have some. Usually, all the Illinois teams have good nicknames. I don't think they're one of them, though. I don't remember what their nickname is, but the Southern Illinois Salukis and the Leathernecks and all the other things they got up there. I don't think they're one of the good ones, though.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I didn't even know, but I guess now that you mention it, I guess Tony Romo did go there, so maybe I did know about him and I just didn't realize it. When Mike and I are at the Floribama, guys, you can win. Oh no. All you got to do is say Roll Tide. And the first 20 people that come through there and hang out with us and say Roll Tide, you're going to get one of these sweet lids. This is the last one of the first batch. They just blew through at Innisfree on Friday when we did the show. And if you can't get there, hit that QR code, Avenue D. We're giving them away there as well, but they're pretty sweet. Okay, so the guy jumps over the line. It should have been a penalty, but I mean, they still can't kick. The guy can't kick. It's every week he misses a kick. It's not like they're jumping over the line every week. You don't realize how important that position is until you don't have one. And we've had these great kickers. Last year, we didn't even need them because we got inside the 20. We scored touchdowns every time. How do you overcome that? Because I feel like going to Auburn, you're going to need this guy to kick some field goals.
Oh, dude, you want to talk about a house of horrors for Bama field goal kickers. And not only the kick six, but God knows, was it 2019 that you had a kick at the end of the game that hits off the upright? Yeah, or maybe even the crossbar. I was literally standing right under that upright when that happened. Man, yeah, I mean, it's a tale as old as time. And I honestly, it looked, like I said, the field goal was tipped, but I honestly thought that a lot of these field goal issues at Bama would come to an end when the NIL thing came around. Because I'm like, oh, this is perfect, kind of like you did a few years ago. I'm like, you can just go find a kicker in the portal. You don't have to develop them. You don't have to recruit them. You just go out there and grab one, find the best one in the country, figure out what he wants and give it to him. And, that's just, it's another thing in the category of you kind of hold your breath when the guy's trotting out there. But, it's like I said, it's hard to kind of look at the field goal situation and go, oh man, if we'd have just got that, because there's just so many other opportunities. And I think that this offensive line's got to play better. I told you last week on this podcast, it's the best D line in the SEC. I knew that they were going to give us a lot of problems, and they did. I don't think our offensive line's playing very well right now. I think that there's a revolving door at right tackle. It's not a very good situation. And I think our running backs are not Bama standard. There was multiple times, Mick, and I'm curious if you notice this. Running back, approach the line of scrimmage, get spooked out of the hole, bounce it outside. Well, okay, if you're going to do that, you're probably going to find yourself one-on-one with a corner, some type of contained player, right, in the secondary. There were so many times guys like Damian Harris, Josh Jacobs, guys from the past, TJ Yeldon, you get out there and you stick your foot in the ground and you go north and south, and that contained player is just sitting there holding contain, and you're gaining 6, 7, 8 yards, breaking the tackle. We were getting out to the contained players on Saturday, and they were just tackling us one-on-one for a gain of 1 yard. And I realize the offensive line's not playing at a very high level right now, and the timing's off on the run game. The spacing is so bad, man. It should be, when a block hits, that running back should be flying past them, and it's not that way right now. But even so, I don't know what the answer is in the run game. Daniel Hill had a couple of moments. He looked good. He got a couple tuds. Jam Miller looks like a shell of what he was when he first came back against Georgia and against Vanderbilt. I don't know what the story is there. And it's frustrating to watch. I know it's frustrating for Bama fans. And, look, man, there are a couple people putting out videos about, what's wrong with the Bama run game, and that we got to get we've got to get our recruits in there. DeBoer's got to get his style of lineman. I don't buy that, man. We talked about it last week. This is not a staff that's been known to run the ball no matter where they're at. Yeah. Ryan Grubb didn't have a good run game at Washington. Coach Cap didn't have a good run game at Michigan State. There's going to have to be some movement there, I think, in the offseason if they're going to try to get this thing figured out and get that run game back to Bama standards.
Yeah, no doubt about it. What went right in the game? I know we didn't win. And look, if the kid makes a field goal, we don't turn it over one more time. We make a couple more plays, we win. All we needed was a field goal. Say we had 1 point more than them. Would we be as concerned about things are that since we had 2 points less? But what went right in this game?
Well, look, I think Johnny Cuevas, the tight end, man, he continues to be a problem for opposing defenses. He is such a weapon to have. He can block at a high level. He can catch the ball at a high level. He even showed the ability to run a little bit after the catch. He put a couple good moves on people. What's interesting about it is you look at Cuevas, you look at Jeremy Bernard, you even look at Horton. All these guys are names that you didn't expect to be part of this picture. I mean, not to the degree they are. It was like Ryan Williams is on the front cover of, the video game. And Jeremy Bernard was just kind of the sidekick. He was the Robin to the Batman. We didn't even know Johnny Cuevas anything about him, really, and all of a sudden all these other guys. So I think when I look at it, the ability to spread the ball around offensively is still a very nice thing. You're not locking in on one receiver. Ty Simpson, he's reading defenses. He's layering throws. And I know that he was under duress. I know he made a couple of bad decisions, but I think when you look at it in terms of approaching Auburn and a possible matchup in the SEC title game, you're not going to face a defensive line down the road that looks anything like Oklahoma, in my opinion. A&M, maybe they're approaching that level and maybe more well-rounded defensively. I don't know. But Georgia can't do that.
Mm-mm.
A lot of the teams in college football cannot do that. So, look at Ty Simpson, look at what the passing game was, and then hopefully they can start to nail out something in terms of the run game and make this a little bit more of a two-dimensional offense.
Yeah. Well, sometimes when you take a loss like this, you get better from it. You don't have to win every game anymore in college football. I mean, it doesn't matter. You can still win the SEC championship, and you can still make the college football playoff, and you can still get to the national championship and win it from where Alabama is right now. That's the beauty of having this thing.
I'm so curious to get your take on this. What would you say, percentage-wise, your confidence level is that you go down to Auburn and win the game the way you should? You've seen a lot of these, man. You've seen a lot of these games. I'm just curious where your head's at.
I think, look, okay, so let me throw up our next topic, right? We go into Atlanta because I think this all fits. The truth is, I think that it's gonna be a really, really tight game.
Yeah.
And if we don't make mistakes, we're gonna beat them. But it's gonna be tough. They're prone to F it up, and we're prone to figure out a way to win. We're gonna be hungry after the loss. I think we're gonna play with desperation. They're in another situation where they fired their coach. I know DJ Durkin wants that job, but doesn't mean he's gonna get it. And I just feel like it's going to be another one of those games like it's been the last few years. When you guys were seniors, you better make plays at the end of the game to beat them, but you can't. But it's going to come down to Alabama's ability to move the football, score touchdowns in the red zone, and not turn it over. And that's been what the secret's been for them. And I think Auburn will make a run. They'll get a couple lucky plays. Auburn Jesus will be there. They'll have a ball that'll bounce off like 5 dudes and it'll be like, like a touchdown. We'll be going, what the hell's going on here? But you have to weather all of that to get to the end.
Oh, man. There's just so much crazy stuff that happens down there. I mean, you go back to the year they played the national title. What was that, 2013? Yeah, I think that's the kick 6 year. And the game before that where the ball bounces off the Georgia player and falls in the Auburn player's hand. I mean, luckily, I thank God all the time that we were able to put that drive together in the fourth quarter and come back and win that game down there. And they had no business being in that game. But I talked to Ted Roof, who was their defense coordinator. I talked to him years later. I had him as an interview on the radio, and he was like, yeah, we got in that game. We were like, I don't care if they win 50-0. Mark Ingram's not going to win the Heisman down here. Yeah. And that's exactly how they played. They put, 8 freaking defenders in the box, and they were like, you're not going to run the ball. And then, Greg comes alive and Julio comes alive right there at the end of the game. We go down, throw the ball to Roy Upchurch, we win the game. So, if that's how it has to happen, next Saturday, then that's how it has to happen. But I think they've got all the right pieces. I think that, and you've known this for a month, man. I've told you for a month that Oklahoma was the one I was concerned about. I was like, Mizzou, LSU, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, Oklahoma is the one that can get you because their defensive front is good enough to make the game really muddy, and their quarterback is just mobile enough to move around and make you look silly. And they actually had more success against John Mateer than I thought they would defensively. And take a second, Mick, if we haven't done this enough, can we just take a tip of the cap to Kane Wommack and this defense?
Wait a second. Let me go ahead and put it up there. Give Kane Wommack's defense credit.
Thank you. Because I know that we've harped on this, and Bama fans have harped on this guy. It reminds me of the way Georgia fans feel about Mike Bobo, their offense coordinator. They're like, oh, this guy stinks. And then he puts up 40 against Texas, and you're like, you know what? He's not that bad. It's just one of those things where the unit didn't look the way that people remember Saban defenses looking. But sometimes, Mick, you have to go back and remind people that Pete Golding's defenses weren't great. That, Tosh Lapoy, there was ups and downs at the end of Saban's tenure, right? Mm-hmm. And Kane Wommack is still kind of bringing his vision to the forefront of what it's supposed to look like. And I think that they have played incredibly for the most part of this season, man. They fly around, they do so many good things. And I got to tip my cap to him because I've wondered about the strategy of the way he coaches many, many times, along with more, other fellow former players. And they keep rising up the occasion and getting it done more times than not.
Yeah. I mean, he's taken a lot of flack, and all that we've seen over the last 4 or 5 games is that the defense has stepped up. They limited Oklahoma. They had their back pushed up against the wall many times because Alabama's inability to move the ball or turnovers. And they kept us in it. Yeah, they did. And we've been waiting for this offense that we saw at the beginning of the year, and they're not getting it done. Ty's missing the deep pass, and if he doesn't start hitting those passes, we're not winning the national championship.
There's no doubt. But it's like we started when we started the show. Let's not act like this offense didn't gain 400 yards.
Right.
I think that's the thing to kind of keep in mind. Ty Simpson threw for 326. I'm with you. You got to start hitting some of the deep balls. But man, it's not like they're ineffective. You know what I mean? I think. Look,
I know. You look at Oklahoma's, they're just not scoring.
Yeah, you look at Oklahoma's offense; they were ineffective. They were awful. I mean, they were 3 of 13 on third down. Oklahoma's offense. You can't win like that, but yet they did because of the pick six. And so, like I said,
the missed field goal and the fumble that set up. 16 points for something came off of turnovers. Right.
We also. It's not just the interception. We fumbled 3 times, lost 2 of them. You just can't commit to turnovers, man, and that's what it comes down to. So that's what I mean by function. I know people are going to listen to this. Go, well, the offense, turn the ball over. I get that, but from a functionality standpoint, those are things you can clean up, right? You can clean it. You get ball security. Ty for the most part of the season has not thrown it into dangerous places. You feel good about that moving forward. But the functionality of the offense still is there. It's the turnovers that crush you. So I don't want to lose sight of that. And I think the theme of us talking right now is everything's still on the table, and everything you wanted to accomplish, you can still accomplish. The loss stings, but I guess the best way to go about it, in my opinion, is to look forward and talk about how it can be done against Auburn to make sure you win, how it can be done against A&M to make sure you win. And so on and so forth. So, it's simple things to clean up, you feel like. And it just felt like this game could have easily been, 42-10, the way this offense played. Well, you just, like you said, couldn't connect, and you kept turning the ball over.
Well, there's something else, too, that's a side note in here, and this isn't an excuse. The scheduling's got to be more fair. Alabama shouldn't have every damn team they play gets a week off before them. Now, this is a game where I look at it and go, hey, you know what? If they would have had to play a game the week before, they wouldn't have had an extra week to be ready. Their offense was terrible. They were good on defense. They made some plays when they had to. I didn't feel like they were the better team. But I'm looking at these schedules and I'm going, how does everybody have a week off, or Auburn 2 weeks off, really, when you talk about playing Mercer and then last week off before they play Alabama? SEC has to make the scheduling fair. You couldn't do that in the NFL. The Ravens don't play a team that's had a week off over and over again through the season. The Falcons don't do that. Like that's a blind spot for the SEC. These teams are going to line up for Alabama, probably Georgia too, where they get an extra week off to play these games, and it's not fair. It just isn't. They should have it to where you get one team that you play gets a week off before you. Maybe you both get a week off, because we're dealing with it again with Auburn. You know.
Were you a little bit disappointed to learn? Not disappointed is not the word. I'm going to get people riled up. Were you a little bit? I find it unfortunate that we lost against Oklahoma and we're still playing in Atlanta.
Okay.
Personally.
Well, okay.
All right. I thought, okay, if there's a...
I know where you stand on this, pal. I know where you are on this.
I was like, if there is a silver lining to this, you lose against Oklahoma, good. Go let Georgia play Texas A&M. And every single tiebreaker I see lends itself to Alabama still playing in Atlanta. I don't know how much time you've spent diving into this. And
No. I'm with you. Let me tell you guys, though, let me just take a time out from this, and I want you guys to stew on it while I'm telling you about Bod Coach. Bod Coach is basically your AI personal trainer that hits you up constantly to make sure you've worked out. And I had a back injury from kickball, really bad kickball injury. By the way, we won the championship. Starred in the game, but I was sore after. And my bod coach says, hey, my back's sore. Hey, here's some exercises that you can do that you'll keep in shape, but you can rest your back. Then it was like, hey, what are the symptoms? It was almost like I had a bod coach and a doctor. But you need to check it out as you get to the holidays here. There's going to be a lot of eating. It starts with Halloween. People pile up all the candy. This isn't like candy corn and those circus peanuts. This is good stuff. And you get fat because you eat it all the time. Then you go into Thanksgiving. Don't forget about the tailgating. I want to say at least 8 yellow hammers on Saturday. And I know that because I've got the cups to prove it at Galette's. But you know how it goes. There's a lot of sugar in those things. What are you doing to work through it? Your bod coach has you covered. So just go. If you don't believe me, go check it out. It basically, if you're going to go to the gym, it'll fashion a workout just for you. I was at the Hampton Inn, saw our buddy Chris Stewart there, eating some of the great breakfast that they provide at the Hampton Inn, watching the game. I'm going down the workout, try to get some of this fat off. And I caught my bod coach. Hey, look, we got dumbbells and we got a couple of treadmills, and there's not a lot of room. We'll do this, this, and this, So it's a pretty cool program, and I think you guys would like it a lot. Yeah. All right, let me get back to the question at hand. And I just for the record, this isn't calling you out, but it is a little bit, okay? So last time we're on here, and we talk about the topic of what do you think about going to Atlanta? And I said, if there's a championship to be won, then I want us in it. And you didn't disagree that much. Then I get off here, and the magic of the internet. These phones are amazing, Mike. Because all of a sudden, I look on my phone, and there's Mike Johnson, not from the Bama Tailgate Show, no, from Atlanta radio. And they ask Mike, what do you think about Bama going to Atlanta? And he makes it clear that he doesn't want anything to do with Atlanta. Forget about it.
I thought I made myself clear on this podcast, Nick. I thought I made myself clear on this podcast with you.
No.
I guess I didn't hammer it home enough with talking to you. I was allowing you to give your opinion and say that, yeah, if there's a championship, you want it, you want to be a part of it. Nah, I'm good. Times have changed, man. And I did I not say this on this show? There is a reason there's not a 30 on the side of that helmet. There's a reason there's an 18 on the side.
You did say that. You did.
The national championships are what matter, Mick. So evidently I didn't do a good job of explaining myself enough to you, because that is exactly how I feel. It's not cowering down. I sat there and watched a Georgia team with Carson Beck last year thinking they had their sights set on a national title. And then guess what happened? Right before halftime, he gets his freaking elbow ripped apart, and they got to go play with Gunnar Stockton for the rest of the season. And every single team that had the bye ended up losing. So, yeah, man, that was the unfortunate part is I'm sitting there going, well, if you lose to Oklahoma, you'll let Georgia go to the SEC championship, you'll be fine. No, dude, that is not it. It's like a 1 in 10 chance that Georgia could actually make it to Atlanta if Bama and Texas A&M win in a couple of weeks. So it just there's so much left to be played out. Actually, I found a tiebreaker computer on Twitter, on the internet, and it like lets you go through and select all the games. And I'm sitting there just selecting all these things. Like, is this a way that Georgia can make it? Is that a way that Georgia can make it over Alabama? And the bottom line is, it doesn't seem like Alabama can find a way out if they win against Auburn. It's like Georgia against Alabama, Texas A&M against Alabama. Alabama seems to be going to play in Atlanta in a few weeks if they're able to beat Auburn. And it's like you and I just talked about, that's a big if. It's always a big if in Jordan-Hare. Things happen down there. But the thing that stinks is if you lose that game against Auburn, you're probably done for the year, other than playing in a bowl game.
Can you imagine that? I mean, like, Auburn beats us, Kalen DeBoer's life's going to suck. You thought Florida State loss was bad. Shit the bed twice in a row.
Lose to an interim at Auburn. How about that? Have you seen the visual that they put up about the coaching matchups from like the last 7 Iron Bowls?
Yeah, it's so funny. Yeah, it's all these different coaches.
They've been different for the last 7 Iron Bowls.
Yeah. Well, the 1 year Saban had COVID and Steve Sarkisian coached.
Yeah, exactly.
So for the Iron Bowl, and I guess we'll make it official now. I gotta slide you in for Coker because you're coming to the Floribama. You're going to be part of the Iron Bowl show on that Friday.
Call the bullpen.
This is like calling the bullpen, and this is like you coming in as a closer. Like this is your neck of the woods here. Now I'm expecting to see the Chris Bengals and the dirty Nates and the nasty Nates coming out, and the big unit Randy Johnson. You might even get a Doug Cooper sighting down there. I don't know, man.
Dougie
C, like your whole crew, man, from when we used to do the show together. I mean, this is really just a homecoming for you, but you're from Pensacola. And then, of course, your broadcasting career as a host started at the Floribama. We all know that story very well.
Look, man, my parents right now, they live over almost towards Perdido, almost towards Inverary Point down there, man. So that's just, a hop, skip, and a jump. Be down there with the kids and everything. So I'm looking forward to it, man. Ought to be a lot of fun. I haven't been to the Bama in a little bit, but it's definitely home for me, if you will.
Black Friday. We're going to do it.
I paid a few light bills in that joint in my day. And I'm happy to be back.
First 20. Say Roll Tide, get the Roll Tide Bama tailgate hat.
Yeah.
That's even, and it's free. You don't even pay it. All right, last topic on today's show, Ty Simpson out of the Heisman race. And with that, I want to throw up Kalshi because that's where we get all of our live markets from when it comes to stuff like this. The Kalshi market tells us that, unfortunately, the Heisman race right now does not really include our buddy. And I hate it for him because he was right at the top there for a while. And then, I don't even want to say, well, I gotta say like 2 mediocre games and all of a sudden you're not in the list anymore.
No, I really do. I feel like this is Fernando Mendoza. They got the story. They've got the Cinderella thing going on. They've had a couple of big wins. He had a couple of massive moments against Penn State.
He did.
And I mean, it is what it is. Everything was right there in front of Ty Simpson. But the bottom line is when Bama loses, it becomes such a, and maybe I'm a Bama homer saying this, but when Bama loses, it becomes such a major storyline that your bad is going to be amplified. You know what I mean? Like, Diego Pavia and Vanderbilt lose, it's like, oh, well, they're Vanderbilt. They were bound to lose at some point, this, that, and the other. Diego Pavia is still a really cool story, even though he's like freaking 30, right? But when Ty Simpson and Bama lose, it's, well, look at this pick six and didn't. But I mean, look, like I said, he had opportunities in front of him in some of the bigger moments. When able to rise to the occasion, and that's going to happen, man. So it is what it is. But I think Mendoza's probably going to run away with it. I don't want Julian Sain to win, to be honest, and that's not because he used to go to Bama. It's just, to me, he's more of a facilitator than he is a playmaker, and I have a hard time with that. It feels like the other players on his own offense are better than he is, but he just plays quarterback.
Right.
So,
right.
I struggle with that. It is what it is, though.
Do you think it was a mistake to bring Austin Mack in and lose Julian Sain? Because he wasn't leaving until that happened.
Is that right? I couldn't remember how that scenario played out. It's hard to say, man. It's hard to say until we see what Austin Mack is, like I said, I think Julian Sain is surrounded by an incredible amount of talent. And I don't know. I think last year you could have made the argument that Bama was as talented, roster top to bottom as Ohio State. I don't know that you can make that argument right now. Ohio State's got a couple of hiccups, man, but golly, look at some of the players they have. They have put together an all-star team, and it's only going to continue to happen every single year. It's an open checkbook.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I mean, I see that too. And if for Alabama and all these schools, it's being able to, obviously spend NIL money and then get the most out of it. But if you have more and you take advantage of that, you're a tough team to beat, because the margins, it's not as hard to win right now. Just meaning that, everybody's kind of bunched together. So if you're just slightly ahead, like they are, they have a good chance of going back to back. Now, Alabama could be in that same conversation if they get everything going. I am not counting Alabama out at all.
No, I think this will be as bad of a matchup as you can have until you get to like a semifinal. I genuinely believe that.
Really?
I think that Texas A&M, I think they've got probably the second best front in the SEC. Don't get me wrong, Texas apologies and everything else, but I just looked at what Marcel Reed was in the first half against South Carolina, and they pull off that miracle in the second half. But Marcel Reed was terrible, terrible in the first half of that game. If he plays like that against Bama, Bama will beat them by a few touchdowns. So I don't know, man. I think that Bama just matches up better with A&M and most of the other teams they'll play. I just think that Oklahoma's defense, that front seven, that was not good, and Ty Simpson made it even worse. Yeah, it's a tough one. And does he have a chance to get back in this, or has it passed him by for the year? The Heisman? Yeah. I think it's a little too late. If you had two more big games left, you could talk about it. Now, granted, you could go out and pass for 5 touchdowns against Auburn and 4 touchdowns against A&M and being, a finalist, but I don't see enough moments left out there with these matchups the next couple of weeks. I think that by the time that you get to the A&M game, it's kind of ship has sailed a little bit. Yeah, feels like that too. It's a shame. But you also, it's tough when you have to play this many hard games in a row too. It's not like you get any weeks off. Now, Bama's going to get a week off pretty much this week against Eastern Illinois. But you look at every single game that they've played, the 4 in a row at South Carolina, LSU, Oklahoma. And if you said at the beginning of the year, you're sitting at 8-2, you got to win one more SEC game. You got to beat Auburn. You win the Iron Bowl. You're in the SEC championship and the college football playoff. Are you taking that? Say that one more time. You're saying I'm saying if you said at the beginning of the season, I'm like, look, I'm going to give you, with 2 games left, you're going to be 8-2. You're going to you have the easy game, Cupcake City. Then you go and you got to beat Auburn to go to the national championship and the SEC championship. Are you taking that? 100%. I mean, there's no doubt. I don't think that I would have imagined that the loss came to Florida State to start the year and that you still only had 1 loss in the SEC. And that the Auburn game would really hinge everything else that came along with that. But look, if you want to be what you think you can be. There's a couple of things about the Oklahoma game. Is this is the first time Kalen DeBoer lost at home?
Yeah.
You've played games like that on the road where you've looked bad. Obviously, all your losses have come away from Bryant Denny. So now, don't let that rear its ugly head again and go back down to Auburn and have troubles down there. Kalen DeBoer needs to put that back to bed as well, and make sure that you can move on from there.
Yeah, no doubt about it. So you get to that point, you're looking at things and you're saying to yourself, hey, we got a chance. And that's all you can ask for at this point. Yeah. Now it's time to go and take advantage of that opportunity. And it puts a little bit more juice on this game, because this game all of a sudden matters a lot more. But you guys can check it out, Kalshi.com, promo code Bama Tailgate, $10 free when you sign up with our code and trade $100. And it's fun on there because it's not just, like I said, it's not just sports. I mean, I'm clicking through here. Here's one. How many measles cases this year? I mean, you can wager on that. Will Trump ban lab-grown meat? Let me put that one up there for you, Mike. So, just really fun stuff to get involved in. Will he ban lab-grown meat? What do you think?
I tell you this much: if they can make it taste like boneless ribeye, I don't know if you've seen the prices of boneless ribeye here recently. I'd probably eat it. Little petri dish, meat. I'd probably eat it. Man, the prices of freaking boneless are so crazy. Can't afford it.
So Saturday, I went with our friend Shale Yingling from Yingling Lager.
Yeah,
shout out to Yingling, to their friend's tailgate, and they had the best ribs, man. Like, I couldn't believe it. I was like, these ribs came. I'm thinking like, whoa. Sometimes you get hit like that at the tailgate.
I know, dude. There's nothing better.
Guy's got the apron on, the grill. He's over there by Little Hall, like doing all his stuff.
If the food normally is like a 6 out of 10, it's automatically an 8 out of 10 at a tailgate. Like, it just your taste buds are heightened. I don't know what it is.
That's right. Well, good talking to you, my friend. We'll talk on Monday, and then we'll see each other next Friday at the Floribama as you step in on the Tailgate Radio Show. From the Floribama from 1 to 3. Guys, come by. And again, I'm going to keep on telling you that you can get one of these right here. I'm going to give 20 of these away to the first 20 people that come through and say Roll Tide. Just do it while we're off the air or come early. The other thing is, again, we're trying to remind everybody that Dee Snyder from Twisted Sister, Lita Ford, they're going to be at the center stage at Pearl River Resort, Silver Star Casino, December 27th, 8. That's Philadelphia, Choctaw, Mississippi, however you want to say it. But tickets are available now. It'd be a great way to sneak away during the Christmas holiday. All right. Thank you, guys. We appreciate you so much. And I'm going to let Shank tell you about the crispy screen. Roll Tide.
In some places, football is a sport. In Alabama, it's a fine art. New Life Art is now accepting pre-orders for Daniel A. Moore's next Crimson Classic, the crispy screen, guys. What a name to commemorate the Fat Boys. This masterwork commemorates the screen pass to Caden Proctor that outsmarted Kirby and the Georgia defense. Proctor's catch and bulldog dozing run set up Ty Simpson's 3-yard touchdown just before the half, which was a big score for us, guys. Visit DanielMooreArt.com to see the artist's preliminary sketch and take advantage of a special pre-publication pricing for the crispy screen. Go ahead, get into that. Go get you one of those Caden Proctor prints. I'm super excited to get mine in because he's living a dream of all the Fat Boys. And go look up that crispy screen and get you one, guys.
I may not suit up on Saturdays anymore, but I'm still in the game.
Let's roll.
In here, I call the plays, make adjustments, and lay it on the line. Want to feel that fire? That rush, then you've got to get in the game. I used to say it in the tunnel, and I still say it now. Let's roll.